Morning. Welcome to the first series of Partner Sales Acumen workshop. It's great to see so many of you joining the call, and I'm absolutely sure that you will find these sessions meaningful and a time well spent. Hope your families and you continue to be safe. That is our number one priority, and I think each and every one of us need to ensure that we are doing our bit to keep ourselves as well as our communities safe. These are trying times. These are difficult times for all of us. And frankly, this is a journey. And however trying it may seem right now, I am absolutely sure that each and every one of us, our organizations, will emerge stronger at the end of it. The next 90 minutes, we will have experts talk about remote workspace solutions. We will have industry leaders give a perspective on new ways of selling, and we will also hear directly from the customers. And before we launch into it, I will just want to leave one element behind with you, and one message that I think each and every one of you need to carry is that Dell is here to help in whatever form or shape that we can. We are here to help you, your customers, and your organizations sail through this. So without further ado, I will hand you over to Mr. Barun, who will take us through these sessions and to the next session. Thank you.
Hello everyone. Welcome to session 1 of SalesAcumen Masterclass from Strateging. This is a 4-session course. The first session and the third session will be taken by me. I am the advisor for Strateging. I spent many years in the IT industry and happy to bring you this course at this particular point in time. And I'm quite sure that you will have many takeaways from this training program. So welcome you all once again. In this first session, I'm going to teach you the new ways of selling and the mistakes to avoid as a salesman during the COVID-19 disruption. First of all, it is very important for all of us to understand that what has been the change in the work environment. So what I've done is I have clustered it into a table with pre-COVID and post-COVID situation. And you will see that in post-COVID, users have been forced to work from home. As a front-end salesperson, suddenly your face-to-face meetings have disappeared and virtual meetings have started. And it is also very critical to know that while setting up the virtual meetings, it is critical that you set up these meetings either through Cisco WebEx or through Team from Microsoft or through Zoom, any one of these methods for customer communication. Pre-COVID days, everybody was paranoid about maintaining security, but it was limited to inside office function. And now remote user infrastructure security is becoming very critical. The fourth thing is infrastructure was set up in-house working, and now it is working remotely, so it has become far more difficult to manage. Data sharing and collaboration used to happen inside office, and now we see that data is flowing across various locations in terms of video files, JPEG files, audio files, and so on. So this is a classic case of change in the work environment which has happened. And in view of this, okay, we need to understand from the viewpoint that what are the work from home, the IT and business challenges, and hence the solutions associated with it. First of all, let us look at the business and IT challenges. So what I've done is I've correlated the business and IT challenges and worked around the likely solutions for that, so that you can map this environment and business challenges in terms of the need of the customer. So all these 5 pointers which I've listed here are actually the challenges which the IT organizations are facing or have faced, when people switch to work from home. If you see, storage and sharing of data securely has become of paramount importance. Collaboration, communication with internal and external users have also become very important. And therefore, effective control management and security of remote devices is also gaining prominence. On the right-hand side, what I've done is I've listed down the various solutions and toolkits which are there in the market. So any one of your customers, when they are talking the language, about their business and IT challenges, all I'm saying is that you need to quickly transition each one of these communication with respect to the solutions and offer this to the customer. So what I'm going to teach now, in the next 15 minutes is actually to tell you how and what you need to do and what are the do's and don'ts in terms of the sales situation, okay, going forward. So let us take a outside in view, okay. This outside in view is very critical for you to know, because it is important to understand that what is the customer thinking at this particular point in time. First of all, financial performance. Each one of the customers will have a tremendous challenge, not only to meet the supply chain demands, but I am saying that they will be struggling to actually open up their operations and start getting revenue. So financial performance is going to be a big challenge. Innovation, both in terms of business and technology, is going to be the second parameter. Reskilling of the people, process, tools is going to be the third factor. And you also need to understand that from the CIO's viewpoint, it is critical that they also have many tools and processes for customer satisfaction. And obviously the regulatory compliance is going to be important. But what is of paramount importance for all of you to remember is that while the CIOs are going to drive the IT transformation, it is also going to be connected with the business growth of the organization. So it is critical for you to keep in mind that revenue is going to be top of the mind recall for the customer from their viewpoint as they move into this new normal of uncertainty. So what are the things that we need to do during recession times? And it is very critical for all of you to understand that what are the few things that you need to do, during this recession period. First of all of you need to stay positive. If you think that this environment is not going to give you the right kind of results, okay, you will be in for a surprise. If you expect that you are going to fail, then probably you are going to achieve what you expected. So it is very critical for all of you to remain positive. The customers will have tremendous amount of pressure. The management will put pressure on them to do more with less. So when you do more with less, it is do more work with less budgets. And hence it is very critical that you brush up your knowledge in terms of selling OPEX, operating expense based model, rather than CapEx, which is a capital expenditure based model. This will help you in getting the mind share of the customer and helps the sale become much easier. The third thing it is very important for you to know is that since you will be working from home, your face-to-face meetings are not happening. It is very difficult to actually utilize your full sales time. So you need to plan much better. You need to plan much better because otherwise your time will be utilized in meaningless activities. And it is very critical for all of you to know that significant amount of time can actually get wasted, if you don't plan it well. Fourth, during the time of recession, it is very critical for all of you that you need to get busy. And how you can get busy is if you can plan your day well. You need to see that every hour of the day is well utilized. Usually it has been found with a lot of research that during recession, there's a 23% drop in sales activity. And a 23% drop in sales activity can actually be very detrimental in meeting your budget. So you need to make sure that you are busy throughout the day and you plan your day well in advance, plan your week well in advance, and it is critical that you execute your weekly plan better. Improve your service. And when I say improve your service, it is in terms of your response time. For example, if you are committed to the customer that you are going to send a proposal, you make sure that it goes out at the right time. The quality of the proposal, why it is important, why it is becoming so important at this particular point in time, because possibly when you are sending the proposal, the customer is also receiving similar kind of proposals from everyone else. And since you will be getting far lesser face-to-face time, it will be very difficult for you to figure out that whether your proposal quality or your value addition or your uniqueness in the proposal is far better than the others or not. So it is very important that you put your best foot forward in your first proposal. Work harder than usual. This is easier said than done. The reason why I'm saying this is essentially because these are not normal times. You have to work much harder to deliver the right kind of results. Plan your meetings every time, and I will explain this in greater detail when I move to my next slide. Last but not the least, set an agenda for your meeting for meaningful outcomes. And I will also explain this when I cover and when I move to my next and the final slide of my presentation. I'm going to spend maximum amount of time on this slide, because this slide is essentially a key takeaway for all of you. Irrespective of the organization that you represent, whether you're selling hardware, software solutions, infrastructure, cloud services, irrespective of that, it is very important for you to practice this 2-minute drill on the solution set which you're offering. Your ability to articulate the story is very important. And why it is 2-minute drill? Because the person who is going to listen to you on the other side over a call, a virtual call at that too, his time attention for the first 2 minutes is the most important. So I would strongly recommend all of you to practice the 2-minute drill going forward. This is a time when you should start talking about the customer's challenges and the risks associated with it. You should refrain from selling yourself and your organization. I had very clearly highlighted the business and the IT challenges and the solutions associated with it. My recommendation is that you please go through the Gartner recommendation, the Gartner white paper as to what Gartner is saying that is going to happen during the post-COVID times. You should align your solution sets around the Gartner recommendation. You should make your storyline around the Gartner recommendation. It is also critical for you to do a vertical or rather a micro vertical based research when you go and address your customers. There are many verticals which are active at any particular point in time in India. Given my sales experience, I have found that about 18 micro verticals are active at any particular point in time. My recommendation is that you should do a lot of research around the micro vertical, which are the companies which are going to buy now, or which are the companies which are going to invest now. Travel and tourism is struggling. So obviously it is better not to focus on travel and tourism at this particular point in time. On the contrary, hospitals, many chains, which has not been functioning for a long period of time, that can actually yield you good results. And my recommendation is that there are a lot of white papers which talks about the micro verticals which are going to invest during the post-COVID times. When you are doing a call with the customer, it is critical that you build trust and authenticity every time that you speak with the customer. I also recommend you that rather than making a phone call to the customer, I would recommend you to fix up a WebEx, a Team, or a Zoom call. The reason why I'm saying you to do this is that you can prefix the time with the customer, and I am 100% sure that these calls will bring in better business outcomes for you during post-COVID times. During the conversation, since you are not able to meet the customer face-to-face, you need to make sure the languages which you use on the call, makes the customer feels good. It is very, very critical for you to understand and use some of these parameters. The biggest change which you will need to have is from becoming a salesman who is going to do a face-to-face sales. You will suddenly realize that you have become a digital salesperson. And in order to become a digital salesperson, it is very critical for improving your SSI index. This is a terminology which was devised by LinkedIn, and there are many parameters associated in improving your SSI index. For some of you who are good in writing blogs, okay, that is an effective measure of actually improving your SSI index. The SSI index is actually born out of 100 points divided into 4 parameters. I would strongly recommend you to do some searching in terms of how to improve your SSI index. Any good salesperson on digital needs to have a score in excess of 80, to become very visible, and hence they have a much higher probability of connecting with the customer. During these times, it is also important that the communication improves between a manager and an individual contributor. And in my session 3, I will actually take you through this journey of how effective communication between a manager and an IC can be improved, and how the transparency can be brought in terms of effective results. There are many tools, sales management tools which are evolving, okay? But during this period, when majority of the sales team are working from home, the sales process tracking and re-engineering is very, very critical. So these are the tools which is very critical, and these are something which you need to remember, during the post-COVID times. I have mentioned few things here in green, okay? And during recession times, I think it is very important for all of you to realize some of these important points. Prospecting needs to be done by non-sales people who are specialized in this. Okay, I have seen in many organizations where a front-end salesperson's time is wasted in doing non-sales activity, and vice versa. So my recommendation is use specialized people for doing prospecting and utilize the sales people for sales function. Second thing is that, during recession, don't look for obstacles, look for opportunities. And it is very critical that you stay positive all the time. There's an important terminology which is gaining prominence, and this is called information asymmetry. And I will actually take you through this word of information asymmetry. The earlier you realize it, the better it is for you. Information asymmetry is when a customer actually knows much more than a salesperson because he is well connected on the CIO framework. He is possibly doing a lot of research on YouTube and social media. And when you actually go and address the customer today, you will find that the customer will know far more than yourself. So it is very critical for you to realize that information asymmetry is something which you need to counter. When you're doing virtual calls, you should always keep in mind that instead of many takeaways, you should focus on just one takeaway. Stop meandering, get to the point, improve your listening skills, and always keep in mind that you need to be walking side by side with the customer. Don't be ahead of the customer or don't be behind the customer. Okay, bring inquisitive questions when you are discussing with the customer as to whether you are in the short list. Okay, what are the next steps of engagement? Always finish with a communication that the door is open for your next journey into that specific account. I will stop here. I can be reached at this particular email address and this phone number. I'll be happy to be in touch with you. And you can reach out to me for any specific communication, any specific help which you need in your career journey. Thank you very much. I'd like to first introduce Sanjay. Sanjay Prasad, he was earlier in many roles across the corporate. He was last in Tata Power, and then he switched back to his hometown Calcutta, and he heads the CIO in Calcutta Electric Supply. Many thanks, Sanjay, for joining. I know how difficult the time it is for you and all of your colleagues due to Amphan, and I really appreciate your taking time out to join this conference. We have Praveen. Praveen Kumar is the field marketing consultant for Client Solutions Group for Dell Technologies. We have Saji. Saji and I used to work together at one particular point in time. Saji is Director M&A Alliances for Consumer and Devices Sales Microsoft. We have Srinivasan Ramaprasad, Director Public Sector Sales APJ Client Computing Group from Intel. And we have Tarun, who is the backbone for organizing this event. Thanks, Tarun, for being on the call as well. So with that background, I'll go to the first round of the questions. So my first question goes for the outside in view to Sanjay. So Sanjay, as a CIO, what are the top 3 challenges you faced during the lockdown period when the employees were asked to work from home?
Yeah, so we did face a lot of challenges when the lockdown happened, and I'll try to break it up into 3 parts: technical, behavioral, and emotional. So in terms of technical, if you look at the pre-COVID scenario, probably globally, most of the big consultants say that about 100 million endpoints existed. as against a total possible capacity of close to about 800 million. And everybody is now scrambling into that space. So that number of 100 million is gradually moving rightwards, which means security and scalability, both are challenges. So having worked in IT services and knowledge service companies where 24/7 work from home was not too much of a constraint and people were pretty adept in delivering remotely, in a brick and mortar company, this becomes all the more challenging, especially in the wake of when you're handling crown jewels, as in an energy and utility company, where your support person needs to communicate remotely. We'll have to ensure that we have the right checks and balances, especially with respect to two-factor authentication and session limitation, and make sure that the person who's supposed to work is actually working for that space of time that he or she has been allotted. Of course, so that's technical. In terms of behavior or behavioral, we find that one needs to get adjusted when one is moving into that home office workspace. That's a big challenge in terms of really gearing up and slicing your time period such that you get work-life balance. I am told that in this work from home scenario, actually people have received the bigger brunt of work than feeling at home, because you are actually 24 hours trying to resolve issues, trying to uh, break fix something that has gone wrong in the classical space. Emotional. This is also very critical. You will find that in an organization, about uh, 40, 50, 60% of the workforce is probably engaged, even in a work from home scenario, either providing the infrastructure or delivering or building widgets or constantly supervising or managing. But there is a significant piece of the workforce, by virtue of their work profile, who will remain idle. It is our job, the leader's job, to motivate them to find out what one can be done both on the personal and the professional space to keep them charged. So I use these three, apart from the personal issues, whether they're getting their medical supplies or whether they're getting, provisions at home. Are you able to, rethink your processes at work while you're at home, so that when post-COVID, you'll be able to simplify the same and be able to make life a little easier, or push the innovation space within your, you have planned a POC, be in touch with your vendor partner and see, putting pen on paper, how much you can advance it without really getting into the bits and bytes. And of course, upskilling yourself, because most of the resources are now free. Very important aspect to work with such people who are not day-to-day engaged in this work from home scenario.
Hey, many
Thank
thanks, Sanjay, for articulating it, the technical point of view, behavioral experience, and emotional. I think these are the three key words. Coming to Praveen. Praveen, you have been a champion of remote working solution. So what are you doing from Dell to ramp up the partner skill sets for selling your work for remote working solution? Praveen, can you hear us? Praveen, you are on mute.
No, I think he has dropped off in between.
Yeah, Praveen.
Yeah, he's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
carry on.
Sorry. So I'm sorry for the temporary disconnections. Yeah. See, but when it comes to the channel ecosystem, we kind of align it as important to our direct sales force. We consider the channel team members as one of the Dell team, right? So whatever we do in terms of our enablement for the Dell sales force, we kind of replicate similar model for the channel world as well. We have various training programs aligned both online and offline. We make sure that what we understand from the situation, that this is not any kind of a temporary spurge in terms of the technology demand. but this is the way forward, going for all companies and customers to be planning. So BCP plan is going to be there, and that's what we tell our employees and the partners alike together. That be prepared that customers are going to have a serious strategy planning on BCP anytime. This is not just a temporary situation. So what's required for the channel partners to be in line with the customer's requirement is that we address to the channel partners on both the fronts. One is the biggest chunk comes from the client or the endpoint devices, and also the IT backbone necessary for keeping those machines up and running from the data center perspective. So it could be more storage, capacity addition or server additions, more switches and more VPN tunnels. So the IT backbone is absolutely necessary. So we ensure the right skill set and the right training programs are aligned to all the channel partners on all fronts in terms of our Dell technology solutions. It's just not about the hardware, but the core IT requirement also encompasses our security portfolio, some of our management portfolio from VMware. So we are a truly end-to-end IT solution company, and we believe our channel partner is also aligned in such a way that they take us into the market as one solution vendor, and we are all aligned there. Most importantly, for them to be enough motivated, we also have specific My Rewards programs for the sales folks of the channel partners, which rewards them with a lot of options, goodies, and points which they can convert. So what we're trying to do is incentivize them to have those conversations with the customers and take our messaging across. Because what today is the ground reality where everybody sees Dell as the leader for remote workforce enablement, because we've been doing this for the last 10 years, right? And I strongly believe there cannot be any other vendor in the market today who's better placed than Dell to tell the customer what they need to do.
I think it's a classic example. First of all, you gave a very nice messaging that you consider them as the extended Dell family. Okay, I think that's a very strong word to use. You also have very trusted partners like Intel and Microsoft here on the call, and I'm sure your Dell EMC and your Dell VMware relationship is going strong as well. So many thanks for putting it together. Coming back to you, Ram from Intel, what are the new things or differentiators that Intel is bringing in the PC modernization space? What is it that Intel is bringing in that space?
Yeah, thank you, Varun. Thanks for the question, and hello to all the fellow panelists. Sanjay Prasadik spoke in detail about the various ways people get affected, right, in this unique environment. And specific to our partnership, we have a very strong connect with both Dell and Microsoft, not just in India, but across the world as an organization. Specifically in the modernization for the PC or the workforce, you can call it by any name. I think Praveen is fully aware of this as we work together a lot. There has been a move towards workplace transformation that's underway for a while now, right? So, and we have seen in the marketplace, even in India, movement towards more notebook computers, right, than desktops. Yeah, there are specific segments within the desktop which has kind of grown, but broadly, you can say that people have moved more towards the notebook space. That is only going to get accelerated in this current environment, as we're seeing, because companies are looking to see how they can get their workforce to be agile and be productive, right? And as we all know, this is going to be the new normal, and everyone is figuring out a way to make this work for themselves. We have had a very strong product roadmap from our CPU platform point of view, which we closely aligned with Dell as we bring some of those products to life in the marketplace, right? And alongside that, we do have what we call as our flagship platform to the enterprise called the Intel vPro platform, which actually addresses the 4 key elements of any platform that you would look at. It could be around productivity, so you get more productive, better, faster access to information. It could be around stability. The platforms it's a platform-wide story because it's a CPU chipset, the wireless connection, all of them put together and designed from the grounds up to work as one, which then comes to life with partners such as Dell bringing it to market. So these platform components working together, giving that world-class out-of-the-box experience to the enterprise customers. So performance, stability of the platform, we guarantee a 15-month minimal disruption in terms of driver updates for the platform, so that for an IT house to deploy that, it's a lot more straightforward. And we also have our own security. We have put more and more stuff into the hardware, right, as a part of the platform, so that it's that much more difficult to go and break into. I'm not saying it cannot be. We all know in this industry that nothing is completely secure. If you put enough meat, resources, money behind, anything can be cracked. But the more difficult you make it, the chances of somebody going there are probably less. So hence, you're kind of it's an incentive for you to keep it up at your end. So it's what we are kind of focusing on. And not the last pillar is also about manageability, which becomes even more important now when people are working in a remote space, right? So we do have capabilities on Intel vPro platforms that allow you to manage the systems from a remote way. Even when the system like is powered off, or when the operating system is corrupt, or some drivers are corrupted, that makes it that much more easier. It was always a value proposition on the platform, but now it's even more relevant. That's how I would say a few things that we're trying to do on the platform.
And so if I have to summarize, it is
productive.
performance, stability, security, and manageability. So coming to you, Shaji, what are the few solutions that Microsoft has been focusing on during post-COVID times?
Yeah, so first of all, Varun, thank you for inviting me to this August audience. Very excited to be part of this wonderful panel. Thank you. Yeah, like you said, we all know the whole world is gripped by this COVID-19 pandemic, and many of the verticals are going through the kind of disruption, the level of disruption which you have never seen before, right? So having said that, right, more than looking at the kind of things that are happening, I think we should look at what are the opportunities that are arising out of this crisis. This crisis will certainly catalyze some huge changes for sure. So, for example, for Microsoft, if you look at look at cloud computing as one of our key focus verticals, right? That will certainly see a surge in demand, right? For the automation and artificial intelligence, those kind of things will enhance the resilience and of let's say supply chains. What we are looking at, the agility, the scalability, the automation. These will be the buzzwords for this new era of business, right? So while it's very difficult to call out one or two verticals which we are going to focus as such, but we all have seen digital transformation as one of the biggest changes in our lifetime. We are so used to it. While we talk a lot about it in today's scenario, but we have already seen the whole world moving from an analog kind of a situation to a digital. Look at your personal life also, be it your travel, be it your hotel booking, or anything and that sort. We are so used to the digital world. So these are opportunities which will arise out of this crisis. This is a very short-term phenomena which we feel like. And at Microsoft today, our top priority is not just the health and safety of our employees, but at the same time, our customers, our partners, and also the communities. That's why if you look at Microsoft Teams, which is available to as many people as possible, one of the best collaboration tools, we aim to support the public health by keeping the safety in mind, keeping the teams connected wherever they work apart.
And I think, we clearly see demand in the cloud framework. We see Teams getting very popular, and I can clearly see Google Meet and multiple such products, getting very popular. Thanks, Sanjay, for bringing it together. Sanjay, a very apt question for you at this particular point in time, and we are all looking forward to a, encouraging answer from you. Post lockdown, once systems open up, what are your expectations from your tech partners?
It's not only post lockdown, also during the lockdown. And actually, currently we are. I am operating from office now for the last 1 week. It's a difficult scenario. So this is the time where we can differentiate from what we typically call vendors, consultants, to actually find out who your business partners are. That means they are with you for the long haul, and it's not that the next quarter's revenue that matters for them or to us. We also know that the supply chain is affected. I know from the colleagues who are there on the panel, and there are challenges where we have not been able to receive supplies in time. We do understand that. So this is the time to sit across the table, look at what projects can be prioritized, what commitments, whether soft or hard, can be deferred, and also look at in this prioritization if some projects can be dropped, what sort of depending on the revenue accretion of the customer in these hard times, one should be able to also look at you know how the commitment can be deferred over a period of time, because this is where one would get to know that yes, both the partners are in for the long haul. So I don't want to use harsh words like renegotiation and etc etc. If both sides remain on emails and don't talk to each other, then it becomes difficult for uh, each of us, because together we make the space. Without one, the other cannot deliver. It is important to sit across the table, understand the other person's compulsion, and then work out a common way forward. And I'm sure mature managements and mature business partners will and have found a way in many cases. And this will continue because this is a new normal. We don't know what's the standard. We don't know whether the peak will come 2 months later. And again, we'll be back to a harsher work from home scenario. So it is important to really sit across the table. When I say table, it's a virtual table, and rework out what is feasible in the short term, medium term, and keep long term issues also burning, because that will then challenge either side to go to the next level. Not an easy answer here.
Yeah, I think we are all into hard times, and one critical point which you pointed out is short-term, mid-term, and long-term relationship be with the customer during difficult times. And I'm 100% sure everybody is focusing on getting their revenue back on stream, supply chain back on stream, and multiple such challenges which has happened in the recent past. So coming back to you, Praveen, and a quick one, a short one, if you can just tell me that we have the three largest partners here. We have Dell, we have Microsoft, and we have Intel. I don't think the industry can see a more aggressive industry partnership than the three of you. So what does the customer gain from this partnership during turbulent times?
Thanks, Varun. Thanks for calling that as a most aggressive partnership. I would call ourselves the most successful partnership in the industry today, because what we do understand and what customers need to realize is all these three companies have one thing in their goal. It has to be customer centric. Whatever we develop actually satisfies the customers and makes their productivity better. So with that goal in mind, you would see a lot of solutions coming together. Specifically in this situation, we talk about the modern deployment process, right? Where there is zero touch experience for the IT administrator, devices getting shipped out of factory directly to the end user. And with a click of a button, the user is able to get his productivity up and running. Now, those kind of technologies without a partnership such as Windows Autopilot or remote manageability through vPro, it's definitely not going to be possible. So we have all the best of three advantages, and collectively our intellectual properties proving a lot of benefits to the customers, right from our Dell Express sign-in capabilities, which gives you a seamless login experience. But actually, that's a combination of Intel context sensing technology with Windows 10 Hello and the Dell device by itself. So together, in terms of manageability, deployment, and security as well, to a larger extent, I believe the partnership is very, very key. And what customer sees within the device is a culmination of all the three technologies put together, right? So we are with the customers, and customer centric is the way we are approaching towards as a common goal.
I think very clearly is customer first for all three of you. So it's that's the viewpoint Praveen you shared. So coming back to you, Ram, has Intel come out with something innovative for its strategic OEM partners like Dell to help them accelerate business during this time?
Hi, Varun. Yeah, clearly we have a very strong partnership with Dell across the world, and that reflects in India as well. Yes, we do have a few. I'm sure the Dell team is aware, but I just want to share a few of them for the benefit of the partners who are going to be on this, webinar. This is an era of humongous data generation. Everything is getting smarter, and so much more data is getting generated, rich data sets, right? And we do believe that Intel architecture delivers the best platforms from the edge to the cloud, with leadership in the connectivity in between, like 5G, right, as it gets starting to roll out around the world. So that way you can create rich data sets at the edge. You can transport them at very fast speeds with 5G. Use the Xeons at the back end in the data center in the cloud to be able to access all those information. And the reality is, with so much data being generated now, very little of that is actually being analyzed. If you look at the analytics and the AI part of it, we are at the nascent stage, initial stages of that. So the platforms that we bring to life through Dell, Microsoft, alongside that, ensures that the end partners and the end customers get the platforms that can process rich data sets, analyze them faster, and make more business decisions based on strong platform performances. Yeah.
So, if I have to summarize, and I think Sanjay will be doing it day in and day out. People say that data is the new oil, and you rightly emphasized on data analytics, as the next step. So, Sanjay, what are your top 3 recommendations from Microsoft for your strategic partners during these turbulent times? Sanjay, you are on mute.
So one thing I would definitely like to echo what my other colleagues Ram and Praveen has mentioned about. It gives me immense pleasure to talk to you about the kind of relationship and the kind of collaboration we enjoy globally between Dell, Intel, and Microsoft. One thing, the backbone of all these things is, like my friends have said, right? The common objective is whatever new technology or whatever new product innovation that happens, the one thing which is very common is we are all customer centric. The customer is the center of everything that we do, right? So when you're asking me what is the 2 things which from Microsoft I would like to convey, I think this winning combination can definitely help customers scale up and come to terms with the new normal, right? We have an upper edge in terms of technology, digital transformation being the biggest change which is required at this point in time. There is no better combination than Dell, Intel, and Microsoft to come together. So in today's world, if you look at, like I said earlier, it is a crisis just for a matter of time. We see a lot more new opportunities coming out of the crisis. Whoever has a combination of the resilience and agility to adjust to the new normal will certainly be the future winners.
Thanks, Sanjay. And Sanjay, these are difficult times. These are just not normal times. So from the CIO's point of view, from the technology perspective, what are your top? What is the top of the mind recall? In terms of priorities for you today.
Yeah. So tough one in terms of cost management within IT remains an important priority. So we look at now, different ways of how this cost can be sliced. One is obviously reducing the expenses, but that doesn't help, in the long run. You have to look at what is bringing revenue accretion, that incremental amount of revenue. Put more bang for the buck there. Are there any revenue models changing for the organization by way of, speeding up the cloud engagement, by way of, automation for low touch or no touch? I think the zero contact word was used earlier. And process simplification. What used to require 5 tables to complete, can it be done online from home with 2 tables? So these are essentially the 3 important aspects that one is looking at. And look at OpEx, what percentage, look at what percentage of your budget is part of the revenue, how much you're spending per employee. So all that, not all types of slices are being looked at. And obviously automation, making infrastructure secure, scalable, and being able to do more with things and less with people will come into play.
I think, the Sanjay ji answer is short and sweet. You covered a lot of points. Spend per employee, increase in the revenue with respect to technology innovations, cost management, maybe OPEX versus CAPEX, process simplification. I think, very short in this thing, you covered many strong points for all of us to take back, and I am 100% sure a lot of learning for each one of us in this room. So thanks, Sanjay, for putting it together. Coming back to you, Praveen, tell us few recent technology announcements, in Dell, which you felt will help the customer presently. If you can tell 2 or 3, in quick this thing, it will be nice.
Sure. First and foremost, we have already launched the latest generation of Intel CPUs, the processors, which actually, these are the 10th generation processors, and these actually improve the productivity a lot. All our devices with the latest generation processors are out. It's ready to ship and purchase for the customer. Second most important thing is we are making the PCs more intelligent, right? So the PCs should be able to understand now. With all the developments in artificial intelligence and machine learning capabilities, which was happening on the back end all this while, has now come to your personal computer. So we have introduced Dell Optimizer across our Latitude portfolio. This is basically to fine-tune your application performance to an extent which can give you the best in-class productivity together. Dell device with an Windows operating system on top of that, running on an Intel 10th generation CPUs. Gives you the best-in-class experience, and we have specific tools to understand the user's usage pattern and give him this support in terms of resources or good enough battery backup, whatever he needs to get his productivity going. Most importantly, our devices are actually incorporating the latest churn-in technology, be it a Type-C port to a standard HDMI port, or the latest generations of wireless 6 standards. It could also be some of our ultra premium notebooks have introduced with the 5G readiness. So in India, it's at a very nascent stage. Worldwide, 5G has already caught up. And there is also an innovation in terms of having eSIM technology. Customers need not fiddle with their USB related data cards or SIM cards. You can just dial into any internet service provider as and how you want. The very important aspect also is to understand the battery backup. Our battery technology in terms of aided by a lot of hardware developments, such as super low power panel, where the LCD consumes less power. Everything is going back to in terms of better battery backup. So together again, I would reiterate this. This is a partnership between Dell hardware innovations, Microsoft's user productivity innovations, and Intel's a lot of innovations from Intel stable, such as contact sensing technology and Wi-Fi 6 and so on and so forth. At the end of the day, we have enough right now for the employee workforce to do that workforce transformation right now. Right now is the best time, and it couldn't be better.
And Praveen, very nicely put together. I think, for any personal devices, battery backup becomes a very important point. You're talking about Wi-Fi 6.0. Those are all very important points. You also, this is something which is, slightly new to me. I was not aware about machine learning coming to the productivity, personal productivity tools. So these are, new insights. Thanks for bringing it together. So coming back to you, Ram, what are the top 3 focus areas for Intel, presently?
Yeah, thanks, Born. I'd like to elaborate on what Praveen just eloquently said just now. Before that, I just want to acknowledge the fact that this is not business as usual, right? Every one of us have been affected, some more so than the others, and some of us have to have a little bit more gratitude that we are able to continue to work from home and in areas where Many others have not have had that opportunity, and it's a tough time for everyone. So having to acknowledge that at a worldwide level, we have to, as a company and as individuals, we need to be empathize to this environment, and we've done a little bit from our side as Intel. Worldwide, I think over $50 million have been pledged by Intel for a pandemic response, which includes healthcare improvements at the edge and accelerate research at a worldwide level. And also in India, we're working with the Council of Scientific Industrial Research and the International Institute of Information Technology in Hyderabad to come up with genome sequencing and accelerate the work of the pandemic prediction as well. We're also in touch with NASCOM to come up with an ecosystem which can also predict such explosions in the future, right? So that's all on the what we're trying to do from an empathy towards the society point of view. Outside of that, as Praveen just mentioned, from a business point of view, on the client side, we have launched the latest 10th generation platforms, including the 10th generation vPro platforms for the enterprise, which is our flagship, which just gets better and better as you look at any metric you would look at. And Praveen was talking about improvements in battery life, which is, I think, another critical element, right? So yes, the CPU alone does not contribute to it. There are panels and many other components that you use alongside. But we have done what we can try and do in making it smarter so that you just turn on and off small portions within the CPU to make it more energy efficient so that you can guarantee a certain amount of battery life to end customers, right? That's on the business side. Outside of that, we continue to look at ways and means of being able to deliver leadership products on a regular cadence across the world. And that products could include the CPU, the platform itself, right? Wherein the need is all about looking at how do you optimally move data around the CPU or near it, right? In an ideal world, you have to keep it as close to it as possible. But because you're generating so much of data, you can't keep all of them as close. So how well you can have an architecture that can allow it to be moved around smartly will determine how successful we are. And we do have platforms to that effect, which are in the pipelines, many of them launched, many coming, so that we're looking at not just the CPU, but the platform itself to deliver world-class products on a regular cadence. Thank you.
I think, a key takeaway is the 10 Gen platform. I've been reading quite a lot about it and the kind of innovation and technology innovation that has happened around that, it's simply outstanding. Coming back to the final question of the panel, Saji, what is this unique relationship between Microsoft and Dell compared to other OEMs?
Microsoft and Dell enjoys a 4-decade-long partnership globally, as well as we have an equally strong collaboration and engagement model within the country as well. Last year at the Dell Technologies World Forum, both the CEOs, that is Satya Nadella and Michael Dell, jointly announced that we are expanding the partnership in a number of digital transformation solutions. That itself is a great testimony to the strong collaboration we have as partners. If you look at the latest range of modern devices that come out of the Dell portfolio, right? Everything is on certified and work on Windows 10, which is the most productive and secure platform. Recently, the Dell CEO also tweeted about how Dell has been embracing a flexible work culture, including work from home, and how 100,000 plus people at Dell are using Microsoft Teams as a collaboration and connectivity tool to enhance productivity. Net, we all have a common goal, customer-centric, at the same time, one of the best partnership we have.
Hey, thanks everyone. My sincere thanks goes out to Sanjay Prasad from CESC for giving us an outside-in view. Okay, the typical challenges which the CIO has, the priorities for the CIO at this particular point in time. Many thanks, Sanjay, for being on the panel from CESC side. Many thanks to Dell, Intel, and Microsoft for coming together and reinforcing the story for our partners. Thank you all. Really appreciate your taking time out to join this panel.
Good morning. This is Praveen Kumar. I'm a field marketing consultant with the Dell Technologies of the Client Solutions Group. Today, we are here to learn about securing a remote workplace at a rapid pace of deployment and a scalable infrastructure. We wish to imbibe you with the knowledge of our Dell Technologies portfolio comprising of various solutions, not just the endpoint devices. You, as our Dell channel partners, are our extended members of our family. So it is imperative that we wish to include you in this process of educating the customer and taking our solutions to the market. So what does it comprise of? Currently, during this COVID situation and for the years to come, there will be unique challenges while enabling a remote workforce. It's haphazardly done as of now by various organizations. That was primarily to keep the office productivity continuing. But essentially, what everybody has realized today is that we cannot compromise on security to get people productive ASAP, delivering the applications which they require, and the right devices, which is very most important. It could be a powerful workstation. It could be just an endpoint connectivity device. Now, at the same time, how does the organization strive to protect its data and information? How do I establish a secure portfolio, a secure profile for these endpoint devices? Don't forget, 99% of the endpoint of the threats which are originating in the market today are from the endpoints, which is your laptop, desktop, any client computing devices. That's what the industry experts feel. So your ransomware, malware, whatever you think of in terms of phishing, spam, everything, almost everything originates from the endpoint devices. So though it is important to protect your data center, it is more important to protect your endpoint devices. Now, at the same time, how do I ensure that the IT backbone for any companies is established in a way that it is very scalable? As in how you add more devices into the remote workforce portfolio, you need to also ensure that they are pretty much scalable. How do I enable our IT guys? When I say our, I'm referring to the customer. When the customer thinks about this, how do I enable our IT guys to meet the infrastructure growth demands? The companies have to grow, they have to expand, more data. Data is the new oil, as they would say. How do I ensure that we scale at a rapid pace without compromising on performance, data integrity or security, and productivity? Now imagine this. You have a remote worker working from an endpoint somewhere. He could be working from a hotel room, he could be working from his home or from a cafe. And then you have your infrastructure in your office or at the data center. There are two key things. One is how do you modernize your infrastructure? Two is to how to enable the worker or your employee to work from a remote area without any compromise or without any challenges. It has to be seamless. In Dell Technologies, we believe the endpoint remote workforce is actually not just one device. It is just not about a laptop or a desktop. There is a big story about this. End to end, there is a lot of stages which goes through this process. First being deployment. How do I deploy to the end user wherever he is the best in class device which he deserves, and at the same time with zero touch experience for the IT administrator? We'll talk about traditional deployment versus modern deployment in a while, but organizations are today scaling up and imagining things where you could dispatch a laptop to a customer or your end user X without your IT department interfering in terms of image installations, unboxing, dispatching, logistics, so on and so forth. Moving on to the next pillar, once you've set up your device, how do you ensure it is secure? Trusted security is absolutely important. At Dell, we follow a policy of zero trust. We'll explain that in a bit. Most importantly, throughout the PC lifecycle, how do I ensure that the devices are actually managed and monitored and ensure that the light is on? It is always working without interruption. And the organizations are striving towards minimizing the lead time in terms of service replacements, or the downtime, as industry experts would say. That encompasses the security as well as the support systems. Support systems is very, very key. Not all organization is expected to have the right skill sets. Today, you don't need to have to do that. Customers can rely upon you as system integrators or industry experts in a specific domain, or the customers can rely on the OEMs to provide them one-stop solutions, including the support system. How to diagnose it, do a preventive analysis, prevent issues from happening even before they happen. At the same time, if something happens, how do I ensure minimum downtime? The SLAs, parts availability, everything else. So these are the 4 key pillars which Dell Technologies today canvasses about a unified workspace. So we believe for any remote workforce enablement, you will need this unified workspace as a strategy. Deployment, security, manageability, and support systems. Now, we have to look at, firstly, how the deployment is being done today. Today, when a customer places an order, the order is placed on the OEM and it goes to the factory in terms of the ERP system. Factory recognizes what the order is. They build up the machine and they ship it out to the customer's office. The IT administrator unboxes it. He does all the image installations, the user profile, grouping, whatever you call it as active domain services set up in his data center, and then he repacks it and dispatches it to the end user. There are multiple steps involved between the original shipment from the factory till the time when it reaches the end user. This is the traditional deployment, but it is not very agile. In a modern deployment, what we try to do is cut down these layers in between, where an IT administrator is expected to unbox it, and then he performs all the installation and then reboxes it. Instead of that, it will be great if we can ship those devices directly to the end user. All that he would need is to switch on the power button, key his login ID and password, and everything he needs for his accessibility, for his user group, or for his work profile, everything gets downloaded from the cloud. That's what a pro deployment can help you to do. At the same time, if there is an hands-on deployment involved, we ensure the IT administrator need not get involved. Rather, our Dell service engineer takes care of it. For you as a channel partner organization, this saves a lot of trouble for you. You need to concentrate on getting the business in terms of the relationship from the customer, ensuring that everything is seamless, and you can rely on Dell to get the interim processes done. Provisioning systems with Dell Technologies saves days of deployment. It's typically 1:7. You will need at least 7 working days to deploy 1,000 PCs. Currently, you can do it in a few minutes of time. This actually improves the employee NPS, or the satisfactory index. Industry experts also say people tend to leave companies if they are not really happy with their personal devices or with the company's IT deployment. There are a lot of people who also say that they will join a company which is actually updated with the latest technologies available and will also work them to work from anywhere. In case they need to take a couple of days of off leave, they should be able to work from home. If they are traveling, they should be able to work from there. They should not be restricted to one single infrastructure or one single building. That's the expectation from the millennials today. So Dell with Pro Deploy helps you to cut down these layers. He joins in a particular date. He's ready to go from the next date. That's what Pro Deployment does for you. Moving on to the next one, the security. As we spoke about this earlier, we believe in zero trust. And the security aspect is just not about an antivirus solution or protecting your data alone. It encompasses hardware security, application security, and data security. It's end-to-end security. Firstly, the devices have to be trusted. So Dell Technologies is a world leader today to provide you the industry class device, best in industry per se, which gives you a lot of hardware level security. Discrete TPM or hardware TPM is key essential. We do not believe in firmware TPM. Safe ID is a control Wall 3 technology from the Dell's stable, which ID enables you to do so. Safe BIOS is very important today. How, as an OEM, Dell Technologies ensures that the BIOS is not compromised. Mind you, if a hacker gets access to BIOS, he can get access to the entire notebook or a PC. And in turn, he can actually get access to the company's network. So you cannot allow the BIOS to be compromised. Most importantly, if you need to recheck the integrity of the BIOS, you cannot do it from the device itself. Because if the BIOS is already compromised, there is no point in doing a BIOS check within the compromised device. You need to do off the host. So Dell Technologies offers you a safe BIOS option where you can verify the golden image, which is actually sent by the OEM to you with the help of cloud-based integrity check of the host. Safe Screen is a new technology which we have enabled last year, and this is now being cascaded to most of the mainstream and the premium devices, where it allows the user at one click of a button to turn his display with complete security in terms of an e-privacy option. You don't need this third-party filters anymore. With one click of a button, the data is only visible to you, not to your neighbor who's sitting next to you in the cafe or in your airplane. We also have camera privacy shutters, which enables you to close the camera lid in a mechanical fashion. People are always in the zero trust mode. What happens if somebody hacks my computer? He can see my password being keyed in and so on and so forth. You don't have to do that anymore. You can just physically close the privacy shutter. And we believe in doing that, enabling that without compromising on our core tenets, where we believe we have to give you thinner devices and lighter devices, which is not compromised yet. Accessibility through management portfolio is very important. If you are user group 1, you need to have access to only those user group 1. The information need to be containerized according to the accessibility or according to the policies which has been given by your company. So VMware Workspace ONE plays a greater role in that. It actually secures your access from wherever you work using a single sign-on if necessary, or dual factor authentication if necessary. So VMware Workspace ONE is a complete management suite with a lot of other features, but from the security aspect, trusted access is very important. Data integrity is also important. You could be compromised from the internet resource which your employee is actually using from his home or from cafe. So in this case, how do you protect your data? VMware Workspace ONE, along with VMware Carbon Black, provides you an integral solution for your security. Accessibility is restricted wherever it needs to be. Data is restricted how and where your organization decided to. Safeguard and respond. We prevent data, information being stolen even before the actual attack happens. Industry experts say typically when a ransomware or a malware attack happens, it is actually after 60 days inside your device. It understands all the processes, what you're trying to do and everything. It establishes itself and then surfaces over on the top, compromising your company's information. So we kind of are using our VMware Carbon Black solutions. We don't do reactive methods. We do proactive analysis. We do predictive analysis, and we prevent the threat even before they can happen. That's the trusted data portfolio. As we spoke about, in terms of manageability, you should be able to manage the device from anywhere. That's what VMware Workspace ONE do to you. Ready-to-work experience from the day zero. When the machine gets dispatched to the end user, right from the click of a button on the power on button, the employee should be able to work without just a matter of few minutes. Whatever he needs on his device gets downloaded from the cloud. And in case of any trouble, he should be able to log into his mobile app or your laptop app, and he should be able to diagnose the issues, rectify the issue automatically with few clicks of a button. The system always have to be up to date. IT administrators are constantly following up on the recent patches, firmware upgrades, driver updates. They need to push these information into all the devices connected to the company's network even before the user realizes it. It has to be up to date. It should not compromise the performance of the user. It has to be constantly updating itself with the right measures. All that probably would require is the end user to restart his machine once, and the update is all reloaded. And it also provides actionable insights for the IT administrator to decide what he needs to do. We have various background tools beyond the Workspace ONE. Workspace ONE supports a heterogeneous environment of all OEM devices in the market. However, when it comes to Dell devices, it also collaborates with the Dell Client Command Suite tools, which helps you to monitor your hardware very closely. It can detect what kind of voltage is being put into the device, what is the temperature level, is the hardware going to fail, what is the battery health condition, and accordingly provides you all the inputs necessary to do what is right before the system goes down. Actionable insights is key today to keep the downtime less. Zero trust security is what we spoke about. Trust no one till it is verified. Our support systems, along with Pro Support portfolio, gives you the best-in-class assistance wherever it is required. You can manage your PCs easily, manage your assets. With TechDirect help, you can log in your cases automatically yourself without having to call Dell Tech Support and dispatch the parts or give the inputs to the technical support team automatically and seamlessly. The spare part gets dispatched as in how you key in the error codes and ask for a replacement. We trust you and we send you across the part replacement. We also try to protect and optimize the hardware, and with proactive support, with predictive support for carbon black, what we actually establish out here is we prevent the virus and malware with the constant monitoring on the background even before they happen. Insights, as we spoke about, you can get periodical dashboards of what is going on with your network, what is going on with your devices, what needs to be changed, and so on and so forth. That could be automated as well. Getting the workforce up and running fast encompasses a lot of things, and was very most importantly, just not about the hardware. It's about the hardware, the right ecosystem, right from the monitors to your wireless mouse or docking station, everything put together with the lifecycle support system and the right services. Our commercial portfolio, the Latitude, Optiplex, and Precision, comes ready with all these solutions out of the box. You don't have to install them separately. With one click of a button, all these solutions we spoke about can be enabled out of the box. Pro Manage, as we call it as, or manage with self-service with, along with VMware Workspace ONE, gives you various advantages. Now, VMware Workspace ONE individually for your manageability of the machine, you can scale as how it deems for your organization. You can go for an Express Plus or a standard version or an advanced version or an enterprise version. How would you deem it to be? Why VMware Workspace ONE when there are a lot of other vendors who are also available in the market? We have a trusted end-to-end solution with the unified Workspace ONE. We can do factory integration of the VMware Workspace ONE, meaning it can be imbibed into the devices right from the factory. You dispatch it to the end user with zero touch, and when he switches it on, he has everything what needs to be done for his managing his PC. We have the best-in-class and award-winning support system for decades now. One contact for all your support. When you call Dell Technologies Tech Support or Dell Tech Support, you would also get assistance for VMware solutions as well. Extra functionality with Dell hardware. We can configure the BIOS system using Workspace ONE remotely. It is very easy to track warranty information, driver firmware information with all the background tools. For you, it becomes a single dashboard to view everything what needs to be done. Dell Optimizer is very, very important for calendar year 2020 onwards. We have introduced this Optimizer tool to enable you or users to get best-in-class application performance. It's the only OEM engine today in the market that intelligently optimizes your system using artificial intelligence and machine learning. To take a quick look into what Optimizer can do, it understands using machine learning process how you use your machine. The specific user utilizes his machine. What are the applications he is using? So what is the resource required to do, to allocate to make that application perform better? How do I boot up his device faster? How do I save more battery while he is using these applications? That's what the optimizer does using artificial intelligence and machine learning process. As we said, one size doesn't fit all. One user's pattern or usage behavior is not the same for the entire organization. While we can commonize, bring down the number of portfolio to one single common portfolio, but the user behavior is different. So Dell Optimizer is very important to understand the users, and it can reset automatically as in how you want it to be. It can fine tune applications up to 5. You can manually choose those 5 applications, what you need to optimize as well. Now, when we compare this to what is available in the market today, vis-a-vis HP Performance Advisor, or for that matter, a Lenovo Performance Tuner, we have various unique selling propositions. We have various advantages which is unmatched in the competition. Most importantly, the Dell Optimizer is not a licensed version for your client device. It comes automatically with all the client devices without any additional charges. It is standard on the system, absolutely free. It has built-in artificial intelligence, which the competitors don't have. It has automatic application optimization. We spoke about 5 different applications which you can optimize. We call it the Dell Express Response. You can do audio mic optimization for better conference room. We call it intelligent audio technology. We can battery optimize to the best extent for that particular user. How do I prolong the backup period? That's called the express charge. You can charge your device today to 80% within less than 1 hour, or you can also charge a device to up to 35% within 15 minutes of time. The proximity sensor, which is using Intel context sensing technology, along with Windows 10 Hello feature, gives you the best-in-class login experience, seamless experience. You don't have to touch the laptop to log in. Central management, you can control the entire performance with one single window or one single graphics user interface, one tool to control it all. Network optimization can also be done. That is on the cards for the next year, but that is definitely possible using our optimizer. What is covered? All the commercial client devices, which is Dell, Optiplex, and Precision is covered. Whereas some of our competition restricted only to the workstations portfolio. So when we speak about the performance tuning, Dell Optimizer stands a class apart. Coming to a summary, we want you to work with your customers to enable them remote workforce strategy in the right manner. Customers need help with new hardware. They need help with deployment services, modern provisioning, setting up collaboration tools, including conferencing tools and so on and so forth, remote accessibility tools, supporting their end users in case of any issues which happens, and most importantly, securing your confirmations, securing your company's information to the core which you want to do. It has to be uncompromised. Endpoint devices has to be secure. Do not forget that. What we propose is that we have all these answers to all these questions in one single solutions from the Dell Technologies team. Thank you for taking your time out today for understanding what we have to offer as a remote workforce strategy for our customers. I repeat again, it is just not the laptop or a desktop which helps you to enable your employee to work from a remote area, but it encompasses various pillars such as deployment, security, manageability, and support services. At the same time, the IT backbone in the data center also has to be scalable. We wish that you take this story across to our customers. You are our extended family. We hope for the best for you and for Dell Technologies for the years to come. We request you to reach out to your respective partner account managers or your direct account managers wherever it is necessary to engage with the right specialist and the right experts to help you to take this enablement strategy for your customers. Thank you for attending this session. Have a nice day.
Hi, everybody. I think all of you would have immensely enjoyed this Sales Acumen Training Episode 1 content, which we are now concluding and wrapping up. But before we end today's inaugural session, we have a very interesting conversation right now, and I'm delighted to mention we have Mr. Rajat Gosain, Channels Director for Dell Technologies India, available with us. Thanks, Rajat, for taking your precious time out to join this conversation and inspire the audience team, who are a large community of very competent partner sellers from Dell Technologies channel community. So, Rajat, I would take this opportunity to seek your expert advice and guidance on a few perspectives that sellers today see or experience during the ongoing new normal. So my first point and thought is about the complete shift away from physical face-to-face client meetings, customer meetings that we were all used to in a social world. And now in this completely remote working arrangement with digital communication end to end, technology sales professionals need to reinvent their sales strategies as well as tactics of engaging with customers. So what's your observation here on this point?
Yes, absolutely. First, thank you, Shantanu. Thank you for having me. And you are absolutely right. I think all of us are in the new normal now. Things have changed diagrammatically for the sellers, and what's most important is that it has also changed for the customers. So we need to reinvent ourselves, and of course, from a customer perspective, also they have to readapt to their way of looking at solutions, their way of evaluating them, and their way of buying them. So I think it's a time for each one of us to be re-looking at the way we have been doing things. One thing is for sure that things are changing, and I see that happening on the ground because, for example, when we started off the lockdown, I think we were all trying to get used to the fact that this is work from home, and there are obviously only so much demands that we will have as far as work from home is concerned. But now I see that there is a lot of executives, a lot of people are looking at that Zoom fatigue step in. So there is an overdose of calls. There is an over amount of conversations that are happening. But I think the moot point remains that each and every one of us needs to upskill ourselves, needs to be able to have a conversation that is not just maybe restricted to infra, that is not just restricted to looking at the number of servers or the configurations of the servers, but shift that configuration, shift that conversation to use cases. And I think that is what we have been talking about during the course of the day as well. How do remote workspace solutions fit in terms of what the customers are wanting to do? And second, most important, I think we also, as sellers, have to look at the fact that the conversation with the customer needs to change from maybe and to look at how we can hit the ground running, how we can make available the solutions or the infrastructure components quickly. And this is where I think the ingenuity comes in. Maybe all of us should be looking at how we can leverage stock and sell to at least land certain equipments quickly in the customer place so that they are up and running quickly in terms of remote workspace or any other solution that they might be looking at. How can we leverage flexible payment plans? And there are a host of options in the market that Dell has been working on, along with our partners, along with distributors, Ingram being one of them, where we are looking at offering flexible payment options to customers so that in case they are saddled with a constraint on CapEx, they can also look at an OpEx mode or an extended payment option from them. So I think it is important that we stay focused. And I would say that among all this, I think all of us need to be leading these conversations with optimism, because I think that is the most important point. It is easy for all of us to get derailed with the fact that, look, there is a whole lot of negativity around, but I think it is important that we lead with that optimism, we lead with that confidence, And I can say that I'm absolutely sure that customers are listening, because we have had a lot of success uh, with the remote buying. Customers are buying, they are closing opportunities, they're listening and taking decisions on solutions. And I think we just need to be ready and ready to be there in front of the customer and enable them uh, to handle the crisis as we are handling ourselves.
Thank you,
Over to you,
Rajat. I think
Shantanu.
this is perfect. I think shifting from a product conversation to a use case conversation, aligning to certain engagement models, be it around stock and sell or be it around extended payment terms, which benefit customers manage their I would say project go live targets or financial capex opex rebalancing in the right optimal way. I think this is terrific, and these are very valuable golden nuggets, which I'm sure all the attendees are benefiting from the conversation. So, taking a clue from what you mentioned about the uh, still, in spite of all the pessimism or the challenges, that there are certain customers or solution areas where customers continue to invest. So my second question is more around the overall IT demand that we see in the marketplace. So while we understand there are certain industry verticals which are more impacted than the others, uh, how do you see some of the solutions which are still in decent demand and across maybe certain use cases or across certain industry verticals which you see are continuing to invest? What would be your perspective and feedback around where the demand is, or is there a shift in the demand?
Yes, absolutely. So I'll probably cut this down into two parts in terms of the fact that, look, uh, people keep asking me, is there a drop in demand? And that's the question that we started off with as well. There is enough number of experts looking at this in their various capacities, financial wizards, economists, and there are various numbers coming out that all of us, I'm sure, are private too in newspapers. Some are calling it as a 2% growth that India would be looking at. Some are calling it as a 2% contraction that we would be looking at. But the moot point is that's the range. That's the range we are talking about. And so what that essentially means for us as sellers is that, look, as far if we were selling 100 in the earlier times, we should be selling in the range of 98 to 102, right? So that's what the GDP is looking at. And I think somewhere it is important that we as sellers keep that at the back of our heads, because and uh, important also for us to note that maybe the customers who were buying earlier are not the ones buying now. So we have seen obviously a very strong degrowth coming in from, and most of us are aware of it, from tourism, from leisure and entertainment, from travel industries. Yes, they are the industries we will probably not see that same level of business come in. But are we seeing a growth in telecom? Yes, we are, for sure. Are we seeing a growth in BFSI? Yes, banks are investing. There has been an increase in the number of online transactions and payments, and that they are investing. There is a significant investment happening in education. Even government is diverting funds to healthcare, to education. There is a increase in buying in those verticals as well. So I think we need to be looking in the right direction. From a solutions perspective, I would say we have seen an increased number of laptops being sold, remote workspace demands going up, VDI, security solutions, digital content creation. Absolutely, there is. To all the people on the call, there is no dearth of demand. The only thing we need to be ensure that what we are doing is, are we looking in the right direction? Because maybe what we were doing to monetize that demand earlier is not what is going to make us successful now. We should be looking at these new verticals. We should be looking at the new solutions that the customer is demanding for. And we should be looking at the new ways the customer is evaluating for making those purchase decisions. But I would reiterate to say only one thing, that look, we need to ensure that we are in front of the customer. We are having those conversations, and we are doing what we can in our capacity as OEMs, as partners, to meet those, to meet the challenges, or to help the customers meet the challenges that they are facing right now. Yep. Back to you, Shantanu.
Spot on. Thanks, Rajat, on this one. So I have an eye on the clock. I wish this could go on for longer, but uh, I think a couple of such industry-specific use cases we are covering in each of these episodes, and so 4 episodes overall will collectively cover certain, I would say, industry verticals and the use cases or solution areas that they are continuing to invest into as real-life case studies, examples as we are progressing with this whole sales acumen classes. Uh, so to summarize, what would be your recommendation to the partners, to the sales professionals in the partner community? And again, if we sort of segregate into something which is for the near term, the immediate term, maybe 30, 60, 90 days action and plan, and something that is a little beyond, maybe for the subsequent quarter.
Yes, Shantanu. So I don't think that's an easy one to answer, because it's a situation that is continuously evolving, and I think what we are seeing on the ground is also something that is continuously evolving. But I think I will reiterate some of the points that I tell my team as well. Is first, I think what we need to inculcate is discipline. And when I say discipline, is that look, all of us are working from home, and what that means is that we manage our calendars, we manage our time slots, we manage our conversations with customers, internal, external. We manage our family times with the same level of discipline that we probably had when we were working from offices. So I think that's the first point to start off with. And I think we also should be utilizing this time to probably upskill ourselves, and to ensure that we are ready, to ensure that we have completed our planning, to ensure that we know what our market looks like. So for example, if you are managing a particular set of customers, you might want to do some detailing in terms of what customers, what are those customers looking at these days? Or if you're managing a territory, you could look at what is the territory requirements. So doing the planning and being ready for the time when things open up, so that we hit the ground running, is I think we should be utilizing the time for. But what we can do in the immediate short term also is the fact that because we owe it to our organizations as sellers, I think we need to be ensuring that we are monetizing every single opportunity that we possibly can, because that is what our organizations needed as well. So I would say that let's take some of the most in-demand solutions, and remote workspace is just one of them. But we should, for the next 1 week, I would urge every single seller on the call, as well as people in your organizations, to reach out to their customers and go back with an offer in terms of what we can do, in terms of how that solution can help them meet the challenges that they are looking at right now. And customers want that, and customers are listening. So I would say let's do that. Let's make it a next 1 week. Let's make it a call blitz. Let's reach out to our customers. And what I hear from our marketing teams also is that for the guys who attend the next 4 sessions in this series, and for the guys who are creating opportunities, creating DRs, there's a very surprise and very exciting gift in store. And so let's try and monetize as much as we can, and let's try and leverage these platforms as much as we can. Shantanu, back to you.
Excellent. Thank you, Rajat. That's very exciting. I think the audience team, the partner sellers will surely feel excited about that. And one thing I can't agree more with you is when you say that customers are listening. And why I say so is that every week I keep talking to a good many CIOs as part of my professional engagement. And what I see them doing in this new normal situation is that majority of them are open to new ideas as to, or they are observant of what their peers are doing in the industry. So not everybody is clear from a CIO standpoint as to this is exactly 1, 2, 3 things that I should be doing in this new normal, because this is all very new, unprecedented to everybody. So many of them are also navigating their way forward, trying to understand from the solution providers, the OEMs, their peers in the industry as to what are the right things to do in the current context. And there, our sellers, uh, following that very strict discipline of plan your work and work your plan, a little advanced research of the target customer they are planning to go to meet, and studying a few peer case studies for the same industry vertical. Are there some customers which Dell already has? What have we, or what has Dell done with them in terms of a success story? So go with a little prescriptive set of use cases, give them the confidence that here are what your industry peers are doing, and here's the benefit that they have derived out of this kind of an initiative. And that gives them the trusted advisory confidence which comes from a salesperson, and that helps sort of instill mutual confidence, and the customer appreciates that yes, this salesperson comes to me as a trusted advisor, he wishes me long-term value, long-term benefit, and that's where I feel more confident to sort of direct my investments through this salesperson. And that's where, keeping everything else equal in terms of offering portfolio, solution portfolio, the salesperson has a role and influence to make a difference to the opportunity, to the conversation. And that's sort of a true differentiator, which I would, together with what you have already said, encourage all the sales teams or sales team members who are attending today's training session. So fantastic, Rajat. Any concluding remarks before I wrap it up?
Yes, I would just say let's lead with optimism, because that is extremely important. And let's lead with the confidence that look, we have the solutions, we have the wherewithal to execute for the customers what they are looking for, and there is no reason why we should not be winning in the market. And I would just want to add one more line on this. Maybe just one thing that partners can take away from this, and all the sellers on the call, guys, Dell is here to help in whatever capacity we can, in whatever form we can, to our partners, to our customers. I think we have only one commitment, that we are here to help. Thank you, Shantanu.
Thank you, Rajat. Team, this is Shantanu Ganguly, CEO Strategy, signing off together with Rajat Gosain, Director Channels of Dell Technologies India. And thanks, Rajat, again for the call to action conversation and coming in and sharing your insights and thought leadership with the channel sales community. Thank you, and team, we'll close the session with some feedback form and some couple of announcements for subsequent episodes. So stay tuned for the concluding wrap up part of the episode and training session. Thank you again.
Thank you all.